Listen to me. Some of you right now are losing battles. You were born to win, not because you're weak, not because you don't have potential, but because you're trusting your feelings more than your faith in God. Yeah, I said it. You're letting your emotions lead you, and emotions will lie to you every single time. You wake up one morning and say, I don't feel like grinding today. You don't feel like forgiving. You don't feel like believing. You don't feel like pushing. And that's exactly how the enemy wins. Not with a weapon, but with a whisper that says, you're tired, you're done, God's forgotten you. But let me tell you something, feelings fade, but faith endures. When you start trusting God over your emotions, you become unstoppable. Because now your actions aren't based on how you feel, they're based on what you believe. So I need you to stay with me for this one. Don't click off, don't scroll. Because this message right here could be the moment your entire life changes. Let's talk about it. Listen to me. Your feelings are like the weather. One day, it's sunshine. The next, it's a storm. But God never changes. He's not shifting with your mood. He's not unstable like your emotions. He's constant. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. The problem is too many of us are building our decisions, our purpose, our life on temporary feelings instead of eternal truth. I'll never forget this young brother I was coaching, a college athlete with all the talent in the world. This dude had a scholarship, dreams of the NFL, the whole package. But one bad game, just one bad game, and he came to me crushed, shoulders slumped, eyes full of doubt. He said, E.T., I don't feel like I belong anymore. Maybe I'm not good enough. You ever been there? One failure, and suddenly your whole identity is in question. I looked that young man in his eyes and said, you're letting a moment define your mission. You're letting a feeling override your faith. See, his talent didn't disappear after that game. His calling didn't vanish. What changed was his emotion. He let a feeling, something temporary, something unstable, talk him out of something God had already promised him. And I told him something I need you to hear. If your confidence only exists when you feel good, you'll never reach greatness. Because greatness isn't built on comfort, it's built on consistency. Feelings can't lead your life because they were never meant to. They're signals, not steering wheels. God never said follow your feelings. He said walk by faith. And faith isn't always a vibe. Sometimes faith feels lonely. Sometimes faith feels confusing. Sometimes faith feels like silence. But that's when you know you're walking with God, because he's not controlled by how you feel. He's shaping who you're becoming. Let me bring this home. I remember back when I was homeless, sleeping in abandoned buildings, cold, hungry, broken. My feelings told me it was over. They told me I was worthless. But my faith said, keep going. My faith said, you're not finished. And years later, I look back and realize if I had trusted how I felt, I'd still be on that street. Listen to me, feelings will fail you, but God never will. You can't trust emotions that shift with every disappointment, every rejection, every delay. You have to anchor your soul in something unshakable, and that's him. When life gets rough and your emotions start screaming, quit, remember this, your feelings change, but your foundation doesn't have to. The same God who brought you through yesterday is the same God holding you today. So don't let your mood make your moves. Let your maker guide them. Because when you stop trusting your feelings and start trusting God, you stop living by reaction and start living by revelation. Listen to me. Your feelings are short-sighted. They only see right now. They don't see tomorrow. They don't see 5 years from now. They don't see the plan God's already written. Your emotions scream, this hurts. This doesn't make sense. While God is saying, trust me, I see the ending you can't see yet. That's why so many of us stop in the middle of the journey, because our feelings tell us the pain we're in right now is permanent, but it's not. God is working behind the scenes in ways your emotions will never understand. I remember talking to a young woman who lost her job after 10 years. She called me crying. E.T., I gave everything to that company. I showed up early. I stayed late, and now they just let me go. Why would God let that happen? She was broken. Her feelings were loud. She was ready to give up, but I told her something I live by. Your feelings are focused on the pain, but God is focused on your purpose. 3 months later, I get a call from her again. This time she's not crying, she's shouting. E.T., I started my own business. The same skills I used for them, I'm using for me now. And guess what? She was making double what she made before. She said, if I had stayed stuck in how I felt, I would have missed what God was trying to show me. That's it right there. Your feelings can't see the future. They only interpret the moment. God doesn't operate in the temporary. He operates in the eternal. When he closes a door, your emotions panic. But he's already opening one you can't see yet. Some of you right now are in the middle of a storm. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe your relationship fell apart. Maybe the dream you had seems dead. And your feelings are saying it's over. But I came to tell you, it's not over. It's unfolding. God is still writing the story. See, when Joseph was thrown in a pit by his own brothers, his feelings probably said, my life is ruined. When he was sold into slavery, his emotions probably screamed, this isn't fair. But what Joseph couldn't see was that every painful step was a divine setup. Years later, he wasn't in a pit, he was in a palace. Because what his emotions saw as rejection, God was using for direction. You gotta stop judging your future by your feelings. Stop saying, I feel stuck, I feel lost, I feel forgotten. Your emotions might say you're done, but God's word says, I know the plans I have for you. That means the pain has purpose, the confusion has meaning, the silence has strategy. So when life blindsides you, don't panic, praise. Because if you can see what God sees, you stop worrying and start worshiping. Your feelings can't see the future, but your faith can trust the one who's already there. Keep walking, even when it doesn't make sense. God's plan hasn't changed. He's just positioning you for what's next. Listen to me, your feelings will talk you out of everything great God has for you. Every dream, every breakthrough, every victory. Feelings will whisper, not today, not now. I'm tired, I don't feel like it. But faith doesn't need to feel ready, it just moves. Faith gets up when it hurts. Faith grinds when it's dark. Faith executes even when emotions are screaming, quit. You see, your feelings are experts at excuses. They'll always find a reason why you can't do it, why you're not ready, not qualified, not strong enough. But faith doesn't care about the odds. Faith says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Faith isn't about how you feel, it's about how you fight. Let me be real with you. When I was homeless, sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, you think I felt like getting up every day? You think I felt like believing I could be something more? Nah. My feelings said, E.T., this is it, you lost. But my faith said, get up, son, you're not done yet. One night, I remember sitting in the dark, freezing cold, stomach growling. Every feeling in me said, give up. But something deep inside, that still, small voice said, don't let your emotions bury what God's trying to build. That night, I made a decision that changed my life. I will never again let my feelings make decisions for my future. And that's what I'm telling you right now. You can't execute your destiny if you keep negotiating with your emotions. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, you're giving your feelings authority. They don't deserve. Let me give you another story. There was a young guy who came to one of my conferences, gifted speaker, powerful presence. But he said, E.T., I just don't feel motivated anymore. I've lost the fire. I looked him dead in the eyes and said, that's your problem. You're waiting on motivation when you need discipline. You're waiting on a feeling when God's waiting on obedience. You see, feelings are the language of the flesh, but faith is the language of the spirit. Feelings say, when I feel strong, I'll move. Faith says, when I move, I'll become strong. Feelings wait for the perfect time. Faith creates it. Look at Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He didn't feel like going to the cross. He even prayed, Father, if it's possible, take this cup from me. But he didn't stop there. He said, not my will, but yours be done. That's faith over feeling. That's execution over emotion. You want to change your life? Stop listening to how you feel and start living by what you know. You know God's called you. You know you're chosen. You know there's more inside you. So why are you waiting for a feeling to confirm what faith already told you? Faith doesn't wait. Faith works. Faith says, even when I'm tired, I'm showing up. Even when I'm afraid, I'm stepping up. Even when I don't see results, I'm staying faithful. Because feelings make excuses, but faith gets it done. The world doesn't reward feelings. The world rewards finishers. So stop talking about what you're going to do when you feel ready and start doing it now with tears in your eyes if you have to. Because when you move in faith, you invite God to move through you. And that's where transformation begins. Listen to me, this one right here might change the whole trajectory of your life if you get it. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop waiting to feel inspired. Stop waiting to feel ready. Because the truth is, you don't move when you feel motivated. You feel motivated when you move. That's the secret. Feelings follow actions, not the other way around. Every time you wait to feel like it, you delay your destiny. Every time you say, I'll start when I'm in the mood, you rob yourself of the miracle that happens when you just start. Let me break it down with a real story. There was a young man I was mentoring, brilliant student, full of potential. But every week he told me the same thing. E.T., I'm not feeling it right now. I'll start studying tomorrow. I'll hit the gym next week. I'll pray when I'm in a better mindset. I looked at him and said, son, your future doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your habits. So one day I gave him a challenge. I said, for the next 30 days, don't think. Don't feel, just act. When the alarm goes off, get up. When it's time to study, open the book. When it's time to pray, hit your knees. Do it before you feel it. He looked at me like I was crazy, but he did it.
2 weeks in, he calls me. His voice was full of energy. Oh, E.T., I get it now. The more I do, the more I want to do. That's it. Once he started moving, the motivation came naturally. See, momentum doesn't come from emotion. It comes from motion.
Your feelings are like a car battery. They only charge when the engine's running. You can sit there all day waiting for motivation to hit, but nothing changes until you take action. You want to feel inspired. Go to work. You want to feel strong. Start training. You want to feel close to God. Open your Bible and pray. Stop waiting for the emotion to show up. Create it through motion. Let me tell you something. Some mornings, even I don't feel like it. I don't wake up every day fired up. But you know what I do? I get up anyway. I speak anyway. I grind anyway. Because I know that once I take the first step, God meets me there. He gives me strength after I move, not before. Think about David. Before he faced Goliath, you think he felt brave? Nah, he was just a kid with a sling. But he stepped out anyway. And when he acted, God activated. That's what happens when you stop waiting for feelings and start walking in faith. So here's the challenge. Stop asking, how do I feel? And start asking, what needs to be done? Because discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation. Remember this, your emotions were never meant to lead you. They were meant to follow you. When you act, they align. When you move, they shift. Don't chase a feeling, chase your calling, because once you move in obedience, your emotions will catch up with your destiny. Listen to me. Real faith isn't proven in the light. It's proven in the dark. Anybody can praise when the paycheck hits. Anybody can believe when the doors are open, when the crowd's cheering, when everything's working. But true faith shows up when it's midnight, when you can't see a way out, when every emotion in you is screaming, it's over. That's where faith thrives. Because feelings panic in the dark. They say, I can't see what's ahead, so I'm out. But faith says, even if I can't see it, I know who's guiding me through it. Faith doesn't need clarity to move. It just needs conviction. I'll never forget this brother I met at a church event years ago. He had been diagnosed with cancer. Doctors gave him 6 months to live. I could see the fear in his eyes, the pain, the confusion, the disbelief. He said, E.T., I'm scared. I don't understand why God would let this happen. And I told him, you don't have to understand everything. You just have to trust him through anything. That man made a decision right there. Instead of letting fear control him, he was going to feed his faith. He prayed every morning, even when he didn't feel like it. He encouraged others in the hospital, even when his own body was weak. And I'll never forget what he said to me one day. E.T., I stopped asking God, why me, and started saying, use me. 6 months turned into a year turned into 2. The cancer that was supposed to end his life became the testimony that defined it. He said, I didn't beat cancer. My faith did. That's what faith in the dark looks like. It doesn't deny reality. It defies it. It says, yes, I see the storm, but I know who controls it. It says, yes, I'm hurting, but I'm still here. Because faith isn't about seeing the path. It's about trusting the promise. When you walk by feelings, darkness will always paralyze you. But when you walk by faith, darkness becomes the place where God does his best work. Remember Joseph? He was thrown in a pit, sold into slavery, locked in a prison. But the same God who was with him in the palace was with him in the prison too. The dark didn't destroy him. It developed him. Some of you right now are in your dark season. You're saying, E.T., I can't see the way. And I'm telling you, you don't need to see the way. You just need to keep walking, because faith isn't about sight. It's about trust. Stop running from the dark. That's where God molds you, shapes you, refines you. That's where weak faith becomes unshakable faith. So when your feelings start to flee, when fear creeps in, when doubt gets loud, stand firm, speak life. Remind yourself, my God works the night shift too. He doesn't clock out when the lights go off. Faith doesn't just survive in the dark, it thrives there. Because that's when God proves that he's not just the God of the mountaintop, he's the God of the valley too. Listen to me, God is not waiting on your feelings. He's waiting on your obedience. You keep saying, I'll start when I feel ready, I'll give when I feel blessed, I'll serve when I feel strong. But that's not how faith works. God's blessings don't flow through your emotions. They flow through your obedience. You think Noah felt like building an ark when it had never rained before? You think Abraham felt like leaving everything he knew to go to a place he'd never seen? You think Jesus felt like going to the cross? Come on, y'all. Obedience isn't about what you feel. It's about what you know. It's about trusting God's instruction even when it doesn't match your emotions. I remember this young woman who came up to me after a conference, tears in her eyes. She said, E.T., God told me to forgive my father, but I can't. I don't feel it. I told her, baby girl, forgiveness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. She looked at me shocked. I said, if you wait for your emotions to agree with God, you'll wait forever. But when you act in obedience, your feelings will eventually follow. Months later, she reached out again. She said, E.T., I did it. I forgave him. And the peace I've felt since then is unreal. That's what obedience does. It unlocks blessings your emotions can't comprehend. You see, your feelings are like waves. They rise and fall. But obedience is like the anchor that keeps you grounded when the storm hits. God doesn't need your mood to be right. He needs your heart to be willing. He's not asking for perfection. He's asking for position. The moment you align your will with his word, heaven starts moving on your behalf. Let me get personal for a second. When I first started speaking, there were days I didn't feel like showing up. I didn't feel anointed, didn't feel powerful, didn't feel worthy. But God said, E.T., just go. And every time I went, even when I was tired, broken or unsure, he showed up. Not because I felt ready, but because I was obedient. That's what some of you need to understand. Obedience is the key that unlocks purpose. It's not about waiting for the right emotion. It's about walking in the right direction. Feelings fade. Faith doesn't. Look at Peter. When Jesus told him to step out of the boat, the storm was raging. The waves were wild. Every feeling said, stay where it's safe. But obedience said, move. And when he took that first step, he did what feelings said was impossible. He walked on water. You want to see miracles? Then stop waiting to feel it and start doing it. God can't bless hesitation, but he honors obedience. You might be scared, uncertain, even uncomfortable, but that's where growth lives. So the next time your feelings say, wait, remind yourself, God said move. The next time your emotions say, I can't, remind yourself, God already equipped me. Because at the end of the day, he's not looking for people who feel perfect. He's looking for people who move in faith. When you obey, even when you don't feel it, that's when heaven opens. That's when purpose ignites. That's when your life shifts from ordinary to extraordinary. God doesn't need your feelings. He needs your yes. Listen to me. Your feelings are loud, but your faith needs to be louder. You've been letting emotions run the show for too long. Today, it's time to flip the script. Stop trusting what you feel and start trusting who you know. God didn't bring you this far to abandon you. He didn't wake you up this morning just to let you quit. You're not done yet. You're not defeated. You're being developed. So stand up, dust yourself off, and say it with me. I will not be moved by my feelings. I will be led by my faith. Because the moment you start trusting God over your emotions, that's the moment your destiny begins to unfold. Let's go get it.